This story is from the AITA. This is not a follower submission. This one is, am I the astronaut for eating someone else's birthday cake? Better be a really good explanation here. So this happened the other week when myself and my friends, males and females ranging from 27 to 32, were celebrating my friend's birthday, Tim, at a restaurant. Next to us was another table, similar ages, no kids, judging from balloons and presents who were also celebrating a birthday. The dinner went by normally, and when it came for the dessert, some waiters came out with cake for Tim and sang happy birthday. We divided up the cake and began eating. Turns out the cake wasn't for Tim and was meant for the table next to ours. The waiter came over and asked us to stop eating the cake as it wasn't for us. We laughed as we thought it was a joke, and we were halfway through it at this point. We noticed the other table staring daggers at us. We stopped eating and didn't outright apologize, but said to the other table we didn't know. Who checks to make sure someone organized this cake specifically for Tim? You're at a birthday and you see a cake, so you eat it. After dinner, the other table yelled at us in the car park, calling us assholes for eating their cake and for laughing when asked to give it back. I assumed if anyone are assholes, it's the restaurant. But what does Reddit think? Am I the asshole? Edit, to add things addressed in comments, the cake was a regular chocolate cake, so maybe why the other table didn't notice it as theirs straight away. The waiter took about 5 minutes after serving us the cake to come back. We did give the cake back after we realized it wasn't a joke and wasn't organized by someone at our table. Holy cow. Okay, it's not their fault. It is 100% the restaurant's fault. And we actually got tagged in a story today where it was like an engagement party or rehearsal dinner party. Something like that. And they had a cake specifically. They called it a wedding cake in the video, although I don't know why you would eat the wedding cake at a rehearsal dinner, or maybe it was a wedding cake. This woman was almost in tears because they went to a restaurant and the restaurant had given their wedding cake, or maybe it's their rehearsal dinner cake, to another table. And she saw it happening and some of the topping was missing, so she thought maybe it's not ours, and then watched them cut into it and then realized that it was actually hers and was just in tears and was like, I don't even know what to say. In this case, it's a little bit different because it was just like a plain Jane chocolate cake, right? It doesn't matter. It's not right, but it's not their fault. The shit part of all of this is that even though it is the restaurant's fault, it was probably some kid waiting tables just trying to get by who got confused. And it was probably, if these tables were right next to each other, it was probably, 2 tables within this same kid's section too. So he goofed and caused this thing and probably didn't know what the hell to do, except for to say, we need that back. We know you've eaten half of it, but yeah, we need that back. And they're at a party where it's multiple people who don't all live together and aren't all communicating. So they didn't know. They just assumed that someone within the group had brought the chocolate cake. It is not their fault for doing this, for making the assumption that if a cake showed up at the table when you were out there celebrating someone's birthday with friends, would you be like, okay,
hold on, everybody. Hold on. We need to make sure that this cake came from someone at this table, because the last thing I want to do is eat someone else's cake.
I don't think that happens. I don't think that would be a normal course of action. I think it would be like, oh, sweet cake. Yup. Thump. Now, it's no more your guys' fault than it is the other tables for not seeing it happen and stopping it before it gets there, right? It is absolutely the restaurant's fault. I don't know what you do to make that right. I hope the restaurant did something to make that right. The story that we got tagged in where it was the wedding cake, that's obviously a much bigger deal, but either way, it's the restaurant's fault. They've got to do something to make it right. OP, in this case, not the asshole. It was an accident. A cake accident, but an accident nonetheless. Not your fault. Probably some young, confused, just getting through life teenager as a server. And it sucks. It sucks real bad, but I don't think the other table had any ammo to get pissed at you for it. And you weren't laughing because you knew that it wasn't the cake that you guys brought and it belonged to the table next to you. You were laughing because you thought it was a joke. And once you realized it was serious, you gave it back. So I don't know what you could have done differently, except for take the unreasonable path of verifying the cake actually belonged there before digging into it, which I just don't know what would happen.